Why is it not showing my screen? Oh. There we go. It just hadn't updated. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are playing a couple new sounds from this new library I'm working on. Let's see, let me show you a couple new ones. These are super cool. This is the Bouncing Spirit. Which you can combine with something like a harp. Whoops. Something else. This is what I just recorded that was really cool. Then let's go over here. Let's add a little rhythm. Add another rhythm, something more complex. Let's go to something like a percolation. Let's add that as just the unified layer. Let's give this a cool preset. guys down just a little bit. So this is one side. Let me save this because it's cool. We'll just call it BPM pad whip, which stands for work in progress. I don't know what to name it yet. So anyway, let me turn this on. Hello. How are you doing? I know you guys want to see the keys, so let's go over and get Logic up and running. I'm playing an A flat, for those of you wondering what key this is. So anyway, welcome. My name's John Lemcool. This is my live stream, being a little melancholy. I actually recorded, let's see, what is the one in here? This is the graphics. So I'm working on the artwork for the library. Comes out Thursday. I can't wait. And the big announcement is that I'm going to make it so that it's a public, you buy the library, and for 2 weeks, if you want to make patches and send them to me, we'll include them in the library when it releases as its final version, so you can play with all these samples, because this is a library that's going to go a lot of different places. Right now you're hearing kind of the cool mellow. I'm really going for unique timbres. Last night I spent some time recording these. These are DSP noises. Right? And here's Jet, which is really, really cool. I showed you one of the bouncing spirits. There's 2 others. There's also metal. Has this cool motion. Just one sample. Isn't that cool? And then steel has a little bit different texture. Because with these you can play and do some really cool things. If we were to bring down the filtering and give it a fade in, fade out. Fade out a little bit sooner. Put some resonance on this. And then layer that with other things like, let's put it with Dreamlog just for fun. Make things pop up in different places. Yeah, I like that. So the idea is, it's called Eternal Flow. It's about things that move and change. And so I started with it being mainly just pads. So there's pads that have samples that change and evolve and do different things. But I'm also going to include more rhythmic wave sequence directions. We did one last week with the Hour of Hope, which had right? So this is using wave sequencing, and we're going to, maybe at the end of the live stream, after there's 2 new synthesizers to show you. Maybe at the end of the live stream, because I've added in MIDI box for this library, I now have a folder of wave sequence patterns where I have them named, and I also have the number of steps. So you know how many steps you need to make for this one to work. So, excuse me. It's crazy here in Idaho. There's been fires all around us in California, in northeast Idaho and stuff. And so outside, it is just brown. You go outside, it smells like there's a fire next door. It's very sad. Makes my allergies go crazy, bad headaches. Not a good environment. But yeah, it's summertime in Idaho, I guess, right? So it's not a beta release. I mean, it will be the full release with the final samples, but I've done these in the past. We did these with Omnisphere libraries quite a few times, where I make it a community library, and you buy a copy of it, and now you can make patches and send them in to be included in the release of the library. It's just a chance to like work on your programming. We can even open it up if you want for critique. We could do a live stream where I play patches and show you where places you could take them, things you could add, things different you could do if you wanted to. Just a chance to like, the way to get better at programming is to use those. It's just like working out. If you never work out, your muscles are just never going to know what to do. But if you keep programming, the more you program, the better you get. So I like to encourage everybody that's following the stream that buys the libraries to not just use the libraries, but learn how to program and play with them and try things. And so I do these in kind of a step-by-step fashion. You can pause these videos when you play them back and like redo what I do so you can learn the steps. So the wave station vector synths sort of thing. Yeah, we'll get there, Glenn. 1 second. You know what? Now you know what the name of one of your... The more the better. Yeah, the more you get into your synthesizers and work with them, the more comfortable you are. So that when you get put under pressure of, I need to come up with this, it's not like it's this foreign instrument you don't even know what to work with. And so you have to spend time to get there. It's not something that happens overnight. It takes time. So yeah, group patch making. We haven't done this in a little while, and I just was like, this would be fun. There's, if we were to like open up MIDI box again, and if I go over here to this folder, check this out. So let's go wave sequences, and let's choose one that's, let's get rapid with pauses, and it's 8 steps. So what that means is I need 8 layers. So anything after 8, I'm going to get rid of. So I only have 8. And then I need to tell Polybox that I have a pool of 8. And now I can play the MIDI file. See, there's 8 steps. So when it gets done to the 8th step, it goes back to step 1. So by putting the name of this in here for how many steps it is, like if I go over here and I choose one that's like 5, this is 5 steps. So let's get rid of all these guys. So we have 5. Tell Polybox that we were at 5. And just to make sure, let's do this. Let's go. I don't have anything, but I will have rhythmic patches. But if we go standard library, this is what I always go for. I go to the BPM kick. Just to have a metronome on the floor, go BPM kick, 4 on the floor 1, load into a new Unify layer. And so now it's 5 steps. And then it cycles. So by putting this little thing in the end of the name, now if I was going to make this 8, but we did that one already. Let's do 7. Get down and wait. So 7, this means I need to tell Polybox to be 7 steps, and I need 7 steps. I don't have 7 steps, so I go to 6. I say duplicate 1 plus, and let's see, 5. Oh wait, yeah, I did it based on the kick drum. So let's go like, no, don't do that. Do +1 based on this, which is see how it says MIDI channel 5? This one says all because it was just a drum pattern. So go to the 5 one and say +1, and it will jump it to 6. Do one more +1, and it will jump to 7. So now, and then all I have to do is open a Groove sampler. go to this noise and let's put a delay on it. So instead of pump house, let's say delay, omega delay. Instead of noise, let's make it a pitch thing. So let's go to the list. There's a whole lot of stuff in this library now. 24. See? So, wave sequencing. So the part of this library is going to be really fun for, let's just call this another whip 2, because I don't know what to name it yet, but I like that path. That's really cool for the... I'll make some new kick drums for the library. The other thing that I haven't processed yet, because I just did it like literally before the live stream. Check this out. If I go like this and this, I have all these percussion samples that I made. How many are there? 448. So these won't all be in there, but I have all sorts of different type. Here, let's do this. Let me mute. Those are the regions that will be pulled out. Here's the full length recording. These are guicas, tambourines. Here's this is a thing my mom and dad got when they went to Japan. You can make really cool textures, and so I'm making because when I did the wave sequencing, I got really into using the percussion samples, tambourines and things as hits in different places. So there's going to be a whole lot of those. It's like we're making a mini wave station for this library. The key elements are being noise elements. I'm going to make a few more noise elements, cool pads, and percussion. And with that, we can make all sorts of really, really, really cool wave sequences. So, and there's another type of wave sequence. Maybe I'll show you at the end. Maybe we'll do one of those of the evolving fade in, fade out types. Those are also cool. So, this library, I've got a lot of work to do between now and Thursday, but I want to nail down the sample set, raw patches for everything, and a start of basic patch examples. And then I'm going to make patches along with you guys for 2 weeks, and we'll just have fun making patches and putting them into the library. Probably the cream of the crop will be kept. So some of them that are more basic, we'll look at them and I'll show you why they're basic, and we'll talk about them, and maybe we'll take them farther in a live stream together so that you can have patches that evolve and get more complex and so forth like that. So yeah, that's the thought. I want to get you guys involved a little bit. You know, it's crazy time to try to do something like this because I'm going to be going at the end of the month to San Francisco to celebrate my daughter's 24th birthday. I'm taking her to the Eastern Sierra for a photography trip for the first time. To show her fall color in the Sierras. If you've never been out, now's the time between, like, it's not quite there, but starting in October in Colorado, Utah, California, Oregon, there's all sorts of places where there's just beautiful, the beauty of trees, leaves dying is beautiful to behold and photograph. And my daughter, she's just getting, I'm so proud of her. Well, anyway, I don't want to get into all that kind of stuff. Anyway, they have Unify show all 36 macros at the same time. No. 36 macros. They're all active. You just can't see them all at once. We don't have any facility here to expand this view to do more. Alternate rhythms. Yeah, we'll do some poly kind of stuff. Yes. So yeah. Anyway, so I want to show you two new synthesizers. There's a little kind of tribute to the old, and then there's like, what the heck? So let's do a tribute to the old first. So Softube has released Model 77. This is their take on. You could make another window. Well, the thing is, you could have Unify layers, but each layer is a different set with different knobs. So that kind of defeats it's not all the knobs of one layer, which is what I think Glenn is asking for. Anyway, Model 77 is a very, very lovely tribute to, let's get to this sound, because it's the... These, in a lot of cases, really work on aftertouch, so that... And it's at 2 layers, so you have it 2 layers, and just like the original CS80, it has the presets. So if you go upper, and these are kind of presets that will change the parameters. Let's see. I'm not on a knit, so there's a lot of control to aftertouch, being able to change all sorts of cool parameters. Aftertouch to the filter and the amp. So you can have the filter. I didn't get a chance to play with this as much as I did the other synth because let's see, and then I got to go to the upper, and then you can use aftertouch the filter. And I believe it responds to polyphonic MPE multi-aftertouch keyboards. So if you have a keyboard that has the different velocity sensitivities, it responds. Very sensitive. A lot of really nice patches. To compare this to other CS80s, because there are a number of them out there. If we go CS80, oh wait, SC, CS80 from Arturia. There's also the, what is it, from Cherry Audio there. What did they call it? I think they gave it a kind of, it wasn't poly mode. I can't remember what they named. It wasn't the Dreams, not the CR78. 2600, they're 2600. GX80. Okay, I might not have that installed. Oh, there I do. Here it is. I don't know if I have the latest version. It might want me to. Oh, okay. So we can, I mean, solo just the Cherry Audio. Here's their. Seems like everyone has a blade because that's one of the famous. Go to leads. Softube's synthesizers, they just jump at you. Right? Let's go to the synths, pads. The Arturia stuff doesn't have the same. I think I would rate it to me, the Softube is the most in your face, kind of like present. The Cherry Audio was really nice as well. I mean, it can the Softube seems the most like keeps it within the box of what the CS80 was like. The Cherry Audio goes farther into some really cool sounds. There's a demo version of all of these, so I suggest you to try them out yourself. It's really which one speaks to you that's important, not to me. Just lovely, lovely patches. So I think it's pretty clear that the Arturia is definitely the longest in teeth. It doesn't have the presence of the other two. They're all useful though, so it's not like, again, it's what speaks to you, right? So there's those three to play with, and check out the new one being the one from Softube that was just released. What's the joke? So it keeps a note in C. It's got kind of a ring mod on it. The dual layers. A lot of aftertouch for a funky. So check those out. There's a link in the description to get you to the Softube page that has the Model 77 for you to play with. But the new synth, this is nuts. This is Ghost, and this is it's a single person developer. Full disclosure, both Softube and the developer of Ghost gave me NFRs of their plugins so I can show them to you. But this is nuts. As you can see, this is very similar to what? If we go over here and say new layer, hello, go new instrument layer, and we say FM8. FM8 also had this page for the matrix, and this is where you would set up what was connected to what to do FM to what. Well, Ghost has this where you click and drag. Down here's your output to the output speakers. If you have a sound brought up like this, E is now just going straight to the output with no FM, But at the same time, you could send it over to do a little FM to B, which is also being beat up by C, which is being beat up by the feedback from B going into C before it comes back around. You have self-feedback on every oscillator, so you can click here to bring back feedback. And then the thing that makes this different than FM8 and anybody else is that over here, instead of being just a waveform, you can click and choose all sorts of wavetables, and you set it to morph so it's smooth. And now you have wavetable synthesis of every oscillator that's doing FM synthesis. So that right there takes it to bonkers land. And then on top of that, each oscillator has unison of up to 16 voices. Turn off retrigger if you want it to be so that it's nice random detune and stuff like that. Yes, it's $199. It's not cheap. There's no discount. It's a new synth, and it has some rough edges. Don't buy it right now. Download the demo if you want to check it out. Let me explain the things that I've found to be a little bit rough edged with it. For the most part, everything works. It has some really interesting patches. It makes sounds like you've never heard before. Guys, so synthesizers 20 years ago were $2,000 to $3,000, and there's a few software synths. I mean, $200 is what synthesizers used to cost, and for a single developer to do this and probably only sell so many copies, it actually isn't that much money for you to have a synthesizer that makes sounds like you've never heard before. So, it's not cheap. The number of patches it comes with is a little skimpy. The quality of the patches is questionable. You get some patches that are like, oh my goodness, like if we go over here to some of these Nero. Let me solo or mute this. Show MIDI effect. Oh, sorry. Let's go back over to here to instrument. So it's new and different. Also, each of these 8 operators or oscillators, depending on how you configure it, also has its own distortion as well as a filter with a whole bunch of different really cool filter types. When you get to like the all passes. I mean, I'm playing in the middle of a synth, but on top of those really cool patches are these like FM DX7 patches. And this is only 3 oscillators, one of them being a sub. Let's pull it apart. So this is A. Let's see. This is A, just a sine wave. B, which is just feeding back on itself, but it's a different type of waveform. And let's see, am I on the right thing for B? Then the distortion. There's an effect page, which has, the other cool thing with this is that you could say, I want to add reverb, and I want it to be short, and I want it to be just a little bit. And then you go here to plus, and you say, I want another reverb, and you can do 4 reverbs. So you could have it has OTT style compressors, the multi-band compressor. This is a single person developer. So the fact he put this together, there's these random shapes, which there's 3 of. You get to these frequencies, which is a fixed envelope that applies the same intensity across the whole keyboard. So it's great for percussion and stuff like that. There's LFOs, and as you drag this to any parameter, if I add LFO4, then LFO5 shows up, so it keeps growing more LFOs. So there's not a, I don't know what the set limited number of LFOs are, but let's see, I think 6, maybe 6 is the limit. So, and then there's a real-time matrix page to show you what's going on. The thing that's missing that FM8 has that, you know, I don't know if he will add it, but they have this one page. When you click A, it can show you the envelope and the shape and the frequency settings for each of these operators. Here you can't do that. It's very different in that you have an envelope, and this same envelope could be applied to different things. They're not dedicated to each operator, which is different than what you have in FM8. FM8 had an envelope attached to each of these oscillators. You don't have that here, but you have envelopes that if you add number 3 to here to the volume, envelope 4 shows up, and then envelope 5, and does it stop at envelope 6? Let's see if we go. Yeah, so you have a total of 6 envelopes. Probably the same for your frequencies. If you were to like, let's see if I go like that and assign that to something like over here. Where can I assign frequency? You see a little dot show up if it's a place where it could be assigned. Maybe I've used up all the modulation. I don't know if I've used it. I haven't programmed a ton with this. But it's a new synth, and it's someone. It's different. So if you're trying to be different and make a living as an electronic musician selling software, you have to. If I didn't sell libraries, I'd be out of business just selling Unify. I haven't made enough money on selling Unify to survive. Not even close. But my model of having libraries supporting Unify keeps me going. This is someone that makes the sense. If you look at the patch names, his name isn't attached to any of the presets that I can tell. So if he's going to survive, he needs to sell a lot of copies and make money on it. You can't do this for free. This is the number of hours required to build something like this is just insane. And it sounds great. I mean, if you're not a professional musician, a number of people making money with their music, it's a tough world. But the theory being that somebody can pay for this stuff. I think Tim's right on the GX80. They did take it farther than just the CS80 parameters. By the way, these drums, that's modeled. There's no samples. Same with some of the kicks. Is Major Magic Keys available for Omnisphere? It is not. It is a library where I sampled my piano, actually my mom and dad's piano. Someday it will be my piano, and it's lots of samples, like 35 samples across the keyboard. Omnisphere, you have 1 sample across the keyboard. If you make 8 separate patches and split it, you can have 8 samples like I did for some of the libraries. But after Mega Magic Guitars, actually, it was Del Norte and then Beautifully Broken were the last libraries with samples for Omnisphere I did. And those would use 6 or 8 samples for some of the patches, for some of the synths. And if you go to Omnisphere, I'm doing a little detour for a minute to answer this question. If you go to Omnisphere, a synth that we love, By the way, a thing popped up in my memory that 8 years ago, this last week, I was in Los Angeles for the introduction of Keyscape. So it's been 8 years since Omnisphere has released any new plugin since Keyscape came out. So, Eric likes to take his time. He's taking his time. That's great. But man, we're excited and hoping that they do something at some point. Anyway, I don't have the multis. I loaded up the patches. So there are a number of the libraries. For example, if you look here at something like Mega Magic Cello, right? This is one where we use just a single sample is all we could do for these. So when you go to the strings and Catching the Wind, made by Tim Dale. Let's see, let's mute everybody. So we're just playing. It's just using one sample of the cello across the whole keyboard. So we had to layer it with other layers of Omnisphere synths. And then if you go to the multi-mode, then it would call up where we turned on stack. And with stack, you're able to take each of these key ranges and set them up so that they work only within a certain range. And so I would painstakingly spend hours setting it up so that each of the samples this is giving your key range for your samples in a sampler, right? And then if you wanted to change the attack, you would actually have to go to each of the patches to the amp envelope and change the attack one at a time. So no, Mega Magic Keys is a library. Do I have it here? I might not. I have just a select list here, but the pianos and stuff. Mega Magic Pads was the first library that I did for Omnisphere using multiple samples. There was first I did a library called Mega Magic Dreams. That was right after Omnisphere hit version 2. And with that, it was all these samples where it's a sample. Okay, why isn't that not playing? Go like this. Oh, I'm on MIDI channel 4. I need to initialize this multi so that it's listening to MIDI channel 4. So go to MIDI channel 1, open up the browser, Mega Magic Dreams, go back to that harp, and so a sample and then a long reverb. So that way and I just did that technique to a ton of just single samples. So they didn't just plunk out. Even the guitars. That's one sample. And the Mega Magic Pads, excuse me, was a library where if we go to the list and we Eric makes it really difficult to do this, but we'll go to Mega Magic Pads, you'll see that there's these samples. So you'd have to map each of these to different patches. And then it just became really cumbersome to edit if you wanted to change the attack. When it's here inside of Unify, all you have to do, I don't have any of the Mega Magic. Here, let me fix that. So let's go Reveal in Finder. I do this just because if I have all the libraries, then when I rebuild the database, it takes forever. And when I'm working on libraries, I don't like sitting there forever for that. So I tend to tuck them away in other folders. So let me, 1 second, go over here. We can just go like that. And take these guys and drag them up here to the libraries folder and rebuild. Interesting. Yeah. Tony has inside information on all sorts of stuff. Anyway, if we go over to Mega Magic Keys, you'll notice that the piano, even just a single layer of the piano, here's the soft piano. if I was to go into Unify and just, let's do this. Let's make it just a single layer for the piano. If we were to just go to a single sample, this is what it would sound like. So one sample, it works in the range where the sample needs to be, but these are all the samples used to make up this piano so that it can play. Sound nice everywhere. And then inside Unify, we did like 3 velocities. So this is note off noise samples as well as and the C is 3, or the C3, get my head out of synths. It's a 6-foot piano, so it has a very unique bright and my mom has taught for years and years and years, so we also did the U1. Here's the magical U1. Oh, wait, where's the U1? I'm trying to find where did I, the U1, I did it with both felt. Here's the U1 upright, right here, which, this is the upright. But what's nice with this, I really love the felt. So if you go to the felt piano, and then we did Mega Magics, which has all the reverb and stuff. So if you go up here to the Mega Magic U1 felt, it has all these cool stuff, you know. So, you need samples, and Omnisphere is very limited, has been for a long time. So we'll see if the next thing I don't know if Spectrasonics is going to do an update to Omnisphere, or I would love to see an update to Stats RMX. Maybe they'll do everything. Who knows? But we'll know when they tell us. Anyway, back to Ghost for a second more. Ghost. Again, it's really unique in what it is able to do because it has, here's the kicks, by the way. For synthesis, these are really, I mean, these are early days of Ghost. I mean, it just came out this last week, so. Even with a lip up little in the patch. Hi-hats. Couple interesting things. It doesn't respond to sustain pedal. So if you want to use it with the sustain pedal, this is where Unify comes in really nice. Unify standard utility, MIDI filter, sustain pedal. Click here and say emulate, and now you have a sustain pedal. So a lot of these developers are engineers that are not players. They have to be told these things. So I've been reporting bugs to him for the last week. A few other things I found that were a little off. But sonically, this goes in some really cool places. You know? I mean, my job is just to let you know what's out. So, it is out, and you can pick it up if you want. Download the demo and play with it. It works for 15 minutes, and the sound stops. I'm sure someone will find a way to break that if you... The unfortunate thing is that when you price something like this, it's a green or red flag, I guess, for the guys that do hacking of code to crack your software just like overnight. Because everybody wants it, and nobody wants to pay $200 for it. So, you know, we took the different approach of trying to be affordable, because I've been to lots of places in the world, and I know that lots of people, you know, $200 is a huge amount of money to 75% of the world, you know? So I have a different business model. So everybody does these things differently. Be aware, if you go over here to init, the attack envelope is actually at 10 milliseconds. And if you want really sharp clicks when you're making patches, let's make a patch really quick just to show you how fun this is. So let's go over to a wavetable. Let's have an LFO change this. All you have to do is drag the LFO over the parameter you want. And then click on the one and bring it up. Now, if I wanted to be bipolar, unlike in Serum, you have to like hold down modifier keys. Here, you can right click and say toggle polarity. So now it's bipolar. If I change these shapes, let's do this. Let's go to the waveform list. Let's say sine wave. If you turn this to hertz, by the way, it will go up to 100 hertz. So let's have that as oscillator 1, and then let's have FM from B. Now you can do that inside of Serum, although it sounds a little differently. But here what's cool is that you actually can keep going. And then I could go to this oscillator that's, let's make it a soft. Let's make this 16 voices, detune it, make it super wide, and turn off your trigger. And I can have the same shape here, go to the filter. And go through the different filters. So, and then we can take this and have this volume gated with an LFO that's doing more like a pulse, like this. Let's go over here to LFO 2 and be this for the gatekeeper for this. Turn this down. So you can get into, this is a secret weapon kind of tool. I'm working on a film with someone, and I'm using this to create sounds that people haven't heard before, because for this film, we want sounds nobody's heard before. So if you're in that type of a context, this is a dream come true for it to just show up right now. But it's really cool. It has a few limits. The voicing, I wish there's more patches than what they have. I wish there's more variety. A lot are basic. And then right in between the basics are some just really, really cool, unique, really like, oh my gosh, you know. Here's just a couple patches. You can create cool stuff. I mean, it's... You know, it's really got some unique sounds as well. There's no real patch browser other than for loading. When you go to the save page to save a preset, it's just the standard, your computer's save page. It's not saved like in a cool browser thing. So there's a lot of room for more to be done to this, but it's a pretty good start. You've got 4 macro knobs, which can be assigned like this to unlimited parameters. So that one knob could be changed. Dragging and drop into the oscillators, it does. For turning them into immediate wavetables, yes. For example, let's go here to Logic, and I'm just going to take one of the samples that I just did, like the tambourines. Let's go over here and say, let's export this as an audio file, and just call it to the desktop. So, there, sorry, lost my audio for a second. So if I was to say init patch, and this is a tambourine, so I drag it over, morph so it's got better resolution. So it took a sample. I don't know if, can you hear that? I just redid my audio system a little bit, so let me see. Is this showing up? Yeah. Yeah, so that tambourine sample got turned in. So if I put an LFO on that, and I set this instead of looping to be one shot, and let's slow it down a little bit, and then set this to 100% and start at 0. We could reverse it so it starts at the beginning and it goes to the end. Yeah. So it can do that type of thing pretty easily. If you go to Hertz, you can slow it down to be slow. And play it polyphonically across the keyboard. So it can import samples and use those as oscillator sources for the wavetable. It doesn't have, I don't believe that he has an editor in here for editing the wavetables yet. But you can save the wavetables out so you can make your own library of them, from what I can tell. Really interesting. So it's very quiet. Yeah. Let me turn up the volume here. If you make it loud, that's not a problem. We could just go over here to the... Yeah, so. And then you could add, there's other effects, there's flangers, the delays are really nice. Said ping pong. Right? So, It can do that kind of stuff that we expect from a wavetable synth. You can put your own, yeah, Insect Vibe. And then again, you double click here and now you're making, you know, complex wavetables, and there's ways, there's all sorts of presets in the factory for sequences. So you could say, let's say, and let's turn to loop. So yeah, you can get into that kind of stuff. Yes, take it to lower octaves. It gets cool. Slow it down. And then what would be fun is like put a filter and then have this same LFO shape just drag right here up to the filter. And my volume's down, so let's go over here, turn on distortion. And you can bring in, you're way low, so let's go. Let's detune this. So yeah, you can get into really cool territory really easily. There's some really cool distortion types. Do some wavetable type or wave shaping. So you can go to another LFO and have that change in the drive. Let's change this to be toggle the polarity. Let's also have it do with the filter. Let's go over here. So yeah, you can get into really cool territory very easily. Then feedback on itself. Go over here, add EQ, which is multi-band with all on a tambourine sample, you know? So it's cool. It's a very cool synth. There's not much you can compare it to because nothing else can do multiple oscillator FM and wavetable modulation at the same time. If you look at Serum as a comparison, let's go open Serum, mute Serum. This has the ability to do FM, like if you turn on oscillator 2. Let's have this just be, go to the basic wave shapes. Let's be our analog basics. So we have a sine wave. Let's go over here and say basic as well. And then if you turn this to a different frequency, so let's take it up an octave. Then turn this down so you don't hear B. Then you go right here and you can say FM from B. Right? Okay. That's as far as you can go. You make more complex waveforms for it to FM with. But the thing that's unique with Ghost, let's say init, and let's say we go back to the page and we just... Right there's the same thing I just did in Serum. And I could take this oscillator up an octave. Its 100 is a more intense FM. than what Serum can do. It gets close, but it goes to 11. And then you can take it higher with the feedback on B. And then the place where it goes just like goes, you guys are, good try, is you can bring in C, D, E, and E could be a sawtooth, let's say, with 16 voices with crazy D tune. And I also want to hear it at the output. So right there, I have a sound far more complex than Serum can create. And if I wanted A to be 16 voice unison with re-triggering off. And that's with no filtering, no effects, no distortion. Each of these oscillators could also have distortion. It just gets to a whole different, it's kind of like your gas tank that used to have like 20%. This is like up to 100%. There's so much more place to add fuel to your FM experiments. So it is really unique. Can you control FM with the mod wheel? Sure. Yeah, all you'd have to do is, let's say I want to bring this down and then go to the mod wheels right here. So you just click the plus. And let's say right here. Now my mod wheel. Oh wait, I want to do it not here. Let's say remove right here. So we'd say mod wheel. And Faceplant might be able to get into this territory too. Maybe this is. I think you can. I'm there again. There's a few places where things don't work quite as I expect. None of the patches have mod wheel assignments, which is very strange. So mod wheel doesn't do anything to anything. So the voicing, a lot of people these days don't play keyboard, so they just maybe didn't realize that. But when you go through the patches, I expect, I like to make the mod wheel go from 0 to crazy. Nothing happens on the mod wheel. So if we were to go to A, let's bring down the filters so it's really dark. If I go to mod wheel into here and I crank it 100%, yeah, I don't know why the mod wheel doesn't do anything. It does here, but my mod wheel assignment isn't set up right. I'm not sure if there's mod wheel right click. There's no right click to tell it to listen. So again, there's a few places where people need to write to this developer and say, hey, mod wheel's not working. But yeah, this is version 0.0. It took us 4 years to get Unify to where it is now. This is out the door to start doing this kind of stuff. And the matrix and all the oscillators and the FM and the wave sequencing, or not wave sequencing, the wave tables, that it all works. So it's a cool place. It's really, really cool. Wrong CC number. Yeah, clearly. But I don't know how to change that. There's no place that I could find to go to a settings to, there's nowhere to say, hey, this should be CC1. It just isn't listening. So we just need to let the developer know to work on stuff. But it has some really unique capabilities. So if you're interested in something new, it's new. and cool. And yeah, I play some with, I don't spend a whole lot of time inside of the Kilohertz plugin. Faceplant does have the ability to do crazy FM as well. It's a different interface in that you have to go here and add oscillators, and then add another oscillator here, and then you have to link the two, and then you keep building this way. So you're going to have this long list of different waveforms that are doing the FM. What's cool with Ghost is that it's just right here, and you just click and drag to send something, and this could easily be sent to multiple places. I don't even know how to do that in Faceplant. Here you're just at a matrix, which I'm familiar with because I programmed so much with FM8. So I thought it was really, really fun, and just want to let you know about it. So there you go. It's cool. So I think I'm listening to Faceplant now. So excuse me. Now we got 15 minutes left, so we're going to shift gears. If you have any questions, pop them up, and I'll see if I can help answer. But let's look at something I want to do with Eternal Flow. I was talking about wave sequencing and how we can do the rhythmic stuff like these guys. This really cool. I'm going to show you how to do a different type of wave sequencing. Any updates on the next Unify version? Nothing I can say. There's some stuff going on there, but we'll talk about that in the future. I can't spill the beans, you know. So we got this set up. I think it's to a 7-step. I'm gonna change this to just be a do this. Let's go to a 8. Let's go down beats. 8th notes, max velocity. Cryptic, yes. Have to be cryptic. Now, I'm gonna mute the kick drum. I'm gonna get rid of these additional oscillators, and I'm gonna set it to 4 oscillators. And I'm gonna mute the pump houses so I don't hear any. And then I'm going to tell Polybox to only be 4, so it will cycle, even though it's in 8 steps. If you cut it in half and tell Polybox only to go 4 and then restart back at the top of the list. Now, instead of 8, I'm going to cut the timing in half. And then, instead of short sounds, let's go to chords. And I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to take it even farther. We're going to go to quarter notes so that it's really slow. Right? And let's call up another synth. Up an octave. Now, if you just change the attacks, let's have it do one of the really new bouncing. Right? And then if you have something like a rhythm on top, you see it's still in rhythm. And I can move this MIDI box earlier in time. So I can offset for the fade in of the envelopes, which is really cool. So I can have it still be a rhythmic. Let's call it a preset, rhythmic. A little bit faster, maybe double time that. Let's give it a brighter sound. It starts soon in the sample. So, there's ways to play with getting things. Let's make sure this is set to. Let's find a different kick, so you use transpose. Custom shape, make this really fast and snappy. And just we gotta turn off one shot. There we go. Little snappy guy. So you can get things that are not just rhythmic, but you can have evolving elements in them. This is work in progress 3. And go save as save. Yeah, this one here has got released too long, so shorten that. Anyway, you get the idea. There's gonna be all sorts of fun. When I get the different percussion, that's going to make some really fun elements, because on top of these still evolving things, we can have a rhythmic thing with tambourines and shakers and all sorts of stuff. So I have a lot of work to do this week. So yeah, but we'll have it all set so that there will be because I have some ideas on how to create the percussion things, because we're going to have a map with all these samples, and you'll be able to choose one sample, and inside a Guru sample, you can set it to unpitched, and then you can transpose to choose what you want it to be, have it be monophonic, so it just plays one sample, even if it's a big chord, to get a percussion element into a wave sequence. So that's my internal thinking. I haven't modeled it up yet. What's fun with Unify is I can model up all these different experimental pop possibilities, and yeah, I'm in the working stages of developing this kind of as we go. So it's kind of fun to bring you guys along on the ride. So to go from that to having more of the and it can get even more intricate than that, because instead of the ADSR, I can use the custom shape as the envelope shape. So I could have it be this type of a thing where it goes up. Has a really cool, let's see, just a cool unique shape to it that fades in at the right shape and so forth. This is something you can't do with just the ADSR. So there's all sorts of things I'm experimenting with, and We will be back on Thursday, Friday. I have a lot to work. Taylor, my assistant, is in Florida with family. Shane's busy doing some other things, so it's all up to me. So I got to get it all done. But it'll be really fun. All right, so thank you. Let's do our shout outs from wherever in the world you guys are out. I'll do my shout out from Eagle, Idaho. Out from Eagle. I did it again. Idaho. Helsinki, Finland. Emal was taken. I love that name. There's Brian in Boston, Tony in Cleveland, Reggie, you're in Ohio. Man, cool. Milwaukee. Hey, we got some Midwest. You're Midwest. Colorado. Cool, man. I wish I could get to the Telluride. I really want to get to the Telluride for fall color this year, but I have to settle with Eastern Sierra. Hi, Brent. Good to see you, man. We should get together for a coffee sometime. Shout out from the UK. You were wrong. I love that name. It's somewhere nowhere in France. Good to see you, Sylvain. Arigatou gozaimashita, Kasaka-san. Domo. Otsukare-sama deshita. It's very late there in Japan. From Cologne, Holland, you guys are all over the place. I hope you like this. Hope we had a good time. Check out the 2 synthesizers. Download demos first of anything you see by anybody. Please try them out. Make sure before you put your own money behind something that it speaks to you and that you're going to plan to use it. We all have gas at this point where we have way too many synthesizers. But these new ones that show up, they are very strategically finding places that are missing. You know, nobody's done wavetables with easy FM synthesis with FM and the distortion, all that stuff. So Ghost is definitely kind of in its own little camp. Model 77 is a really nice, very accurate CS80 I found. I haven't played on a CS80, so I'm not one to say like it's accurate because I can't compare. Never did play on them. Missed that. I have an FX20, which is Yamaha Electone organ at my mom and dad's house in Ontario. I actually plan to sample that at some point for a library because it's a very, very cool synthesizer, but it's the presets. It was kind of future generations after the CS80. They made something called the GX1 that they used in Yamaha Electone organ festivals for a number of years in the 70s and 80s. My mom actually had a student that went on to have other teachers, but he started with her, and he ended up going all the way to the internationals. They shipped a Yamaha GX1 to his house in Vail, Oregon. It's crazy. This $120,000 synth or whatever it was. Organ layer, 3 layers, had pull out to program all the different sounds in it. It was very, very cool, very unique. All right. Well, thank you all for joining. Yeah. FX20, I'll do it at some point because it does have some really, really cool sounds, and it'd be fun to sample that. So we will definitely do that one of these days. I guarantee you, it's on the list. There's a big list of libraries, so I got a lot to do. But thank you for joining. Have a great creative week. Don't forget that at the Plugin Guru website there is a library. Ethereal Skies from Timothy Ivory has come out, and it is a wonderful library. It's at an introductory price. Very nice price. Peter Schwartz's library for the ARP 2600. It's worth the retail price. It's no longer on an introductory price. Bob Dedis did Cyberpunk, which is a really cool library of really cool in-your-face sounds. Behemoth is a library I did, the last one where I made as big a sounds as possible. Kit Anthem has a bundle of 6 or 7 different Omnisphere 2 libraries for under $70. So there's all sorts of stuff going on at the website, so please check everything out. And the GX1 had its own gravitational pull. Yeah, the GX1 is nobody's done that yet in a synthesizer plugin. So if you guys, there are developers out there, go look into the Yamaha GX1 because it was in its own different camp and could do some pretty amazing things. It wasn't so synthesis oriented as a CS80, so it didn't have ring modulators and so forth. I don't believe. I never got to play on it, but my friend Phil Kevrin was the keyboard player that was doing these. He got a chance to go to the internationals in Japan. It's a great opportunity. So anyway, I'll see you all later. Have a great week. See you next week on another live stream. Be creative and hands together, head bowed. Bye, guys. Bye.